Like rhyming stories rather than poetry. It's hopefully it won't be long over 5 minutes, so I'll keep the introduction short. Right, this is called Trevor and the AMC. Now the AMC is the Anti-Monster Club, and Trevor is a giant, so he's one of their targets. Trevor was a giant and lived near the Lion Pub, the meeting place of racists from the Anti-Monster Club. It's where they held their rallies, dressed in masks and Viking hats, preaching racial purity by fabricating facts. They claimed they were protecting decent folk from monstrous fiends, that demons lived amongst them and polluted human genes. Ogres, dwarfs and giants were the devil in disguise. And all of those that disagreed were treacherous foreign spies. The AMC were populist. They had the public's ear, spreading their divisive views and generating fear. Licensed every Saturday to protest on Mill Lane. They'd gather outside Trevor's in a Giants Out campaign. Now, Trevor didn't understand why people were so cruel. Some of them he knew quite well, old classmates from his school. But once they joined the AMC, their minds filled up with hate, and they would stand and rant and rave outside our Trevor's gate. Then our Trev met Dragon, and the two became good mates, learning from each other in intellectual debates. Pleasant afternoons were spent discussing books they'd read. Dragon even moved his den to Trevor's garden shed. But that Saturday, the AMC were louder than before, chanting, "Kill the giant," and throwing bottles at his door. Now, Dragon knew that Trevor would be scared to death inside, so thought an intervention might be more than justified. He ambled out to meet them, quite expecting them to run. But Donald Black, the leader, from his coat, took out a gun. He pointed at Dragon, saying, "Treacherous foreign spy, shooting you is self-defence, as we'll all testify." Poor Dragon looked to be quite shocked that things had got this bad. But then he smiled and calmly stated, "It does make me sad that rational folk will terrorise their neighbours in this way." Then launched his whip-like tail and snatched the blacksmith's gun away. Raising up the barrels, Dragon opened up his jaw, calmly put the ends off, dropped the rest onto the floor, then turned to the now silent mob and said, "Let's test my aim. I will count to 21, then toast you lot with flame." Dragon started counting, but before he got to 10, all the row was empty, so he strolled back to his den. But Donald Black was livid, and once safely at the pub, called a special rally of the Anti-Monster Club. Dr. Case, their president, addressed the gathered men. "You let the monsters win today. Don't do the same again. We'll have to start a new campaign against the dragon threat. He may have won a battle, but the war's not over yet. By siding with the giant, Dragon's made himself fair game. We'll target him with adverts and destroy the beast's good name." "Dragon is a menace," said the adverts on TV. "No one in this town is safe while he's still roaming free. The military should round him up and put him in a cage." It even made the headlines on the Daily Mail front page. When Dragon saw the stories and the libelous things they said, his temperature went through the roof and scorched out Trevor's shed. Then he went and bought some things from an online superstore. He would make the AMC regret declaring war. When young, he was relentless, playing pranks and telling jokes, constantly inventing novel ways to trick and hoax. So now he started planning vengeful tricks he'd like to play, secretly preparing so they're perfect on the day. So it was that Wednesday night he parcelled up the kits. Electric wire, super glue plus some assorted bits, fart pills and the laxatives, and popcorn stuffed in tins. Then he gave a chuckle, saying, "Now the fun begins." Slipping out the back way, through the woods by Poacher's track, he made his way to City Forge to set up Donald Black. The forge was empty, cold and dark, and Dragon cleared a space beneath the forge's coals and coke and put the tins in place. Next stop was the local pub, and quietly he crept down into the cellar while the drunken barman slept. He opened up the barrels and, while relishing the smell, mixed in all the fart pills and the laxatives as well. He struggled not to giggle on the way to Dr. Case, thinking of the fun he'd have with pranking coup de grace. He knew from all his research that the doctor loved his car, a classic British racing green E-type Jaguar. He also loved his garden and immaculate display of highly scented roses with a wonderful bouquet. So all around that garden, in the car's and bloom's defence, Dr. Case had installed a high-volt cattle fence. At 5 the sun was rising and the prep work was all done, so Dragon started singing and plucked roses. One by one, Dr. Case rushed out the door and saw the dragon there, then shouted, "You monster, get you gone back to your lair. You're trespassing, you animal. I'm fetching the police. I'll have you thrown into a cage with no chance of release." But Dragon merely pointed to the lovely racing car and said, "With what I've done to that, you'll not get very far." Dashing to his prize and joy, expression quite aghast, the doctor grabbed the handle and then found his hand stuck fast. It's then he saw the cable running to his high-volt fence and Dragon leaning on the switch. It started to make sense. Dragon showed the doctor a big empty tube of glue and slowly turned the power on, saying, "What does this switch do?" Dr. Case's hand was glued, and standing on the drive, he screamed as fence and racing car were suddenly made live. It was nearly 20 minutes till his missus came to help, and by this time his screaming had subsided to a yelp. Dragon, though, had left to watch the fate of Donald Black, and currently was perched upon the forge's chimney stack. Don was heating up the coals within the blacksmith shop, pumping on the bellows, when he heard a muffled pop. Then he heard another, then a third, and then a boom, as all the popcorn burst the tins and firestorm filled the room. Hundreds of the kernels, mixed with brightly glowing coke, erupted from the fire pit in a hail of flame and smoke. Then, striding through the doorway, laughing Dragon braved the flames and pulled the smith to safety, saying, "Don't you love these games?" The fire brigade turned up just then and hosed the smithy down. So Dragon went to breakfast at the cafe just outside town. Several fry-ups later, Dragon flew to Trevor's shed and curled upon the nettles that he used to line his bed. Dr. Case and Donald Black phoned round the AMC, ordering the members to be at the pub for 3. An extra special meeting, then a march to Trevor's place to eliminate the monsters and destroy their demon base. The church bell tolled out 2 o'clock as Dragon roused from sleep, then noticed Trevor outside the door, slumped over in a heap. Blood was flowing from his head. His friend was in some pain. It's then he saw the Viking hats retreating down the lane. Dragon rushed to Trevor's aid and helped his friend to stand. Trevor stammered, "Mate, I'm scared. They've made a new demand. I have to leave the town today. They're coming back at 5, and if I'm still in residence, they're burning me alive." Meanwhile, at the local pub, the barman left his pit and headed for the optics, just to soothe his head a bit. He washed the glasses, flushed the pipes, then opened up the pub, ready for the meeting of the Anti-Monster Club. Members dressed in masks and hats soon crowded out the bar, and Dr. Case surveyed the mob and waved his fat cigar. Silence fell upon the crowd as he began to talk. My friends, I stand before you now as one who's walked the walk. I've campaigned now for many years to rid this town of fear, but monsters still infest this place, and more come every year. We need to act decisively so humans can be free. And just to get you in the mood, the beers are all on me. The atmosphere got rowdy then as members drank their fill. The ale was flowing freely until Donald Black got ill. He felt a pressure building up with a gurgling in his gut. Gradually, it made its way down closer to his butt. He edged his way towards the gents with buttocks tense and tight, but 2 steps from the entrance, Donald's muscles lost the fight. The action of the laxative, propelled by excess gas, ballooned the blacksmith's trousers from the ankle up to ass. The seams were under such a stress that something had to go. Several members moved away. One screamed, "He's gonna blow!" Once again he farted, and the leather breeches burst, splashing poo all round the place. And he was just the first. Panic hit the members as they headed for the door. Several drinkers squatted and just crapped upon the floor. More were in the car park with their trousers round their knees, screaming out to Jesus, "Oh God, make it finish, please!" That was when the TV crew from local news appeared. The reporter spoke to camera saying, "These guys are so weird. They're running round in masks and hats and screaming like they're nuts, then crouching down and firing diarrhea from their butts." The camera turned and viewers saw a scene from Dante's hell. Naked buttocks squirting, masked men retching from the smell, and Dragon, laughing on the roof, sat mocking those below. Was it he that called the newsmen? I guess we'll never know.
Thank you for that rendition, Anthony. I think we've all agreed that tonight, if Anthony gives you a drink or a sweet, just don't take it, yeah? Just don't accept that offer. Cool, okay. So, I can't see a Trevor in the audience because I know what he looks like. So that brings us to our last open micer, which is Spencer. So please give it up for Spencer.